Welcome to Leadershipization, all things leadership. I want you to join me today. I'm Beth Bergen, an internationally awarded leadership and communication coach. It's all about mental fitness, leadership communication, so that we can build your leadership intelligence. I'm here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Look, our focus over the last few weeks has been on the self, because everything emanates from self. So it's been all about, you know, who we are and the impact that how we feel about ourselves has on our success. So today, what we're going to talk about, I'm just getting the chat organized. Today, what we're going to talk about, or our theme is, the impact of self-talk on your success. Now, often with these kinds of things, it's useful to start by understanding what is self-talk. What is it? Look, it's that silent talks that you have with yourself. Those things that go on in your head that nobody else is listening to, but can actually land quite heavily with you. It's about the way that you talk to yourself. The interesting thing is that we're not always aware that it's there, but it's always there. And what it does is it combines our conscious thoughts with our unconscious beliefs and our unconscious biases. It's also a way that our brain actually gets to interpret and process our daily experiences. One of the things that can be useful about our self-talk is that it raises our awareness about the external, the things out there, but also the things in here that are likely to be obstacles to your achievement. So what happens if there's a lot of negative self-talk going on? Well, firstly, our negative self-talk doesn't necessarily reflect reality. And for many of us, one of the four major fears that we have is that we're not good enough or that we're not lovable. And so for many of us, that's the negative self-talk that we've got circulating. And actually, it's not reality. But we begin to believe it. And because we begin to believe it, it creates a paralysis in us. It creates an inaction in us. We don't do things that we should be doing. We're almost overly critical of ourselves with negative self-talk. We're waiting to fail. We're going way back there to an error that was made a long time ago, or we're thinking way into the future to something that might possibly go wrong, and we're attacking ourselves with that self-talk all the time. Attack. It's almost like our self-talk, we justify it by saying to ourselves, oh, well, I guess I'm preparing myself for the outcome. I'm prepared for the worst. Oh, I didn't think I could really do it anyway. Oh, I'm not going to get that job. Oh, I'm not going to do well here. I'm going to stop here and ask you a question. This is something that you might want to write down. Would you speak to a very good friend the same way that you're speaking to yourself? The answer to that is probably no. So reflect on that a little bit. What we do know about consistent negative self-talk is that it affects all areas of our life. It affects our body image, it affects our leadership, it affects our opportunities for success, it affects our fitness, it affects what we eat, it affects who we partner with, all of those things it impacts on. So what can we do to get self-talk working for us? Well, the first thing is it's important to notice that self-talk and to look to correct it. And I'll talk about this a bit more later, but one of the proven things is that if you use your name and you use third person rather than I all the time, it's easier for you to shut down the impact that it might be having. What another strategy in terms of getting your self-talk or moving your self-talk to the point where it's working for you is to acknowledge it and to address the fears. So acknowledge it. Oh, there you are. Give it a name. In my positive intelligence and the positive intelligence work that I do with my clients, we look at giving that inner critic, that judge, a name so that you can call it a name and tell it to go away. Acknowledge it and address those fears, send it away. It's also important to make it work for you that what you do is, as I said earlier, it's not about going way back when and going, oh, you failed at it then, you're likely to fail again. And neither is it about assuming that into the future you can't do something well. It's actually about staying in the present moment. Because every single thing that we do, everything is shaped from the inside out. You will have heard me talk in Leadershipisation about leadership and communication from the inside out. It starts with you. So what can we do? I want you to focus on thinking. Focus on recognizing what's going on. Focus on this reflective thinking and being much more intentional with your self-talk so that it can be more rational, so that you actually use your name or you name the emotion and you become more intentional, more reflective, more rational, because when you're more rational, that allows you to self-regulate. That allows you to say to yourself, oh, Beth, no. You are in absolute control of this. You've got this. Step up, which is all about self-regulation. And that self-regulation will bring with it a calmness, a confidence, some clarity around how you're feeling and what it is that you need to do to create achievement, to create success. And all of those things bundled up together will start to drive that success and that achievement for you. What happens then? Your performance is elevated. The success that you're looking for starts to come with you. You've got that positive self-talk and you're on the way to starting to look at things from a positive perspective to see, what are the lessons here? What are the things that I can learn from this? Yeah. The other thing about a positive self-talk is that it helps to reduce those stress levels. When you've got that self-regulation, you're able to manage those emotions. Yes, you acknowledge them. So you acknowledge that emotion and then send it away. And one way of doing this is to say, hey, anger, no room for you here today. Get out of here. Now, I know there'll be plenty of people listening going, that is so simple. It's ridiculous. How's that ever going to work? The concept that I'm explaining to you is simple. And you've heard me say this before. The concept is simple. You have to take deliberate action, deliberate, committed, continuous action. Because if you don't, the simple concept becomes hard. The hard thing is to actually apply it. So, we want to reduce those stress levels and we want you to be able to respond rather than react. What do I mean by that? Well, when we're full-blown emotions, we're the emotion, there it is, then it's really hard to stay calm enough to respond rather than reacting. Particularly if someone is saying something to you that you disagree with, or that they're attacking you or undermining you in some way. Emotions run high and out comes a reaction. When what you're doing is managing that self-talk, where what you've done is been quite deliberate about the reflective, the intentional, the rational, the calm, the confidence, and the clarity, and what happens is that you're better able to manage that emotion so that you do respond rather than reacting. What do we know happens then? Your performance is evaluated. No, it's not. It's elevated. I'm sorry, my mind, I'm looking at stuff and thinking, oh, it's elevated. Yeah, it's elevated. Your performance is elevated. As I said before, use your name. Use your name rather than I've got this. Make it really personal by saying, Beth, you have got this. You can do this. Keep that self-talk focused, specific, and all about you. And that way it will have a whole lot more benefit for you. I guess it's really just like you would talk to someone else. You would say to somebody else, Susie, you've got this. You'll be fine. Think about saying it that way to yourself. Now, lots of psychological studies have demonstrated that this speaking in the third person and using your name really makes all the difference to managing your self-talk and having it land, because you're addressing yourself. So, as I said before, acknowledge that emotion and send it away. Hey, anger, no room for you here today. Anyway, now, what do we notice when we're trying to change our self-talk? This is something that comes up all the time with the clients that I work with. And I want you to be aware that it's important for you here to notice what you are noticing that's happening. When I ask you, or you determine that I'm going to take this deliberate action to change this, it's deliberate, it's continual, it's committed. What happens is that our brain pushes back. And this is why I want you to notice what you're noticing. The first few times you say, anger, no room for you here today, see ya. It may go away really easily. And then your brain will decide, we're used to having anger here. We're used to working with anger. We're used to exploding with anger. Perhaps that may not be true for you. So here, what it's about is actually recognizing it's got hold of me. So when I work with with mental fitness with my clients, we talk about how it's taken you all of your life to build up the thinking patterns and the self-talk that you've got right now. So if it's a lot of it is negative and you're wanting to switch it over to positive, you're going to be up for a fight. It won't go easily. So you've got to be really determined. It's got to be deliberate action. You've got to be committed to doing it. Yeah? Refocus yourself. Refocus that self-talk. Notice what you're noticing. And then double down and be even more deliberate about doing it. Double down. Always with your self-talk, teach yourself to focus on the positives. As I said, acknowledge the emotion and then let it go and start looking at what are the positives here? What are the lessons that I can learn from this? Yeah? Hey, if you'd like to learn more about mental fitness and the positive intelligence work that I do, which is all about your ability to remain positive and see the learnings in whatever is going on in your life. It's a fabulous strength. A lot like, we talk about our physical fitness. So it's all about you wanting to be able to walk up that hill and to do the things that you would like to be able to do. Well, mental fitness is also about that agility of our mind. So where you have command of your mind rather than your mind having command of you. It's fascinating work. I love it, and it brings a huge insight to, I've worked with over 500 clients, working with them, helping them to understand how they can manage this. They don't have to dwell in the negatives. They don't have to see everything negatively. And more importantly, their self-talk can become positive and focused, and they can be quite deliberate about directing it where they want it to go. So I hope you found that interesting. Thank you so much for being here. If you've got any questions or you've got any comments, pop them on the platform that you're watching this on. We'll check those on a regular basis and we'll get back to you. If you're watching a replay, hashtag replay would be awesome so that I know that you've been here.